So hello and welcome to today's Beta Bully mission episode. Today we're going to be covering the mission Defender of the Castle, one of Bully's more iconic missions, and it may disappoint a few fans to know there's a lot more to the mission than you may think. So before we dive into the actual mission structure, we're going to cover one of the biggest changes to the mission itself, that of course being the Spud Cannon and the Nerd Battle Wagon. Now if you've been following Bully Beta for a while, you may know that originally the Spud Cannon may not have been used in the mission, but instead Jimmy would drive around in a makeshift tank, which is named the Nerd Battle Wagon to fend off the Jock attack, which would essentially become Bully's version of GTA's Rhino tank. Unfortunately, there are no leftovers of this whatsoever, no models, no tech strings, no handling configuration, etc. The only way this was found was because it was shared by a former Rockstar Vancouver developer named Andrew Wood, who shared this all the way back in 2010 and had this to say about it. The Nerd Battle Wagon was going to be awesome. They replaced it with the turret mission where you're protecting the nerds from the jocks at the observatory. Having that drive around the city and wreak havoc on everything was too expensive for the PS2 to handle. This implies the entire mission was completely different, because in the main cutscene Jimmy is asking Ernest about the Spud Cannon and Ernest says he needs time to go and fix it up. But if Jimmy was going to be driving this thing around instead, it may also hint that this was cut before the cutscene itself was even finalised, or possibly an even earlier version. We know Rockstar have reshot many cutscenes in Bully before, with Jimmy's original voice actor. Anyway, another oddity with the cutscene itself is the jocks are implied to be right outside the observatory, they're banging on the doors pretty much, but when it starts they're halfway down the path. Now this could be an oversight or an alternative starting version of the mission. I think this part is up for debate because there is no kind of leftover files that imply Jimmy had to fight off jocks right outside the observatory gates. Another very, and I mean very minor change with the Spud Cannon is it changed appearance between the original PS2 versions of Bully and Scholarship Edition. Here's a comparison. And the reason for this has never been made clear, but, you know, this is a cut content video and this was changed. So let's get straight on to the mission itself now. So originally Defender of the Castle was going to be the third mission in Chapter 4. Paparazzi was going to be the first one, and then it would be Stronghold Assault. So story wise, it's much more coherent when you realise that Jimmy would approach Ernest, ask for his assistance, Jimmy would take the photos of Mandy, and then the jocks find out, and that's why Ernest attacks Jimmy in Stronghold Assault, and this mission would take place straight after the events of that one. So yeah, the original story structure was way more coherent here. So it's assumed the first part of the mission would have Jimmy run off and regroup with the nerds somewhere, and it appears that for the first portion of the mission at least, the only real changes are in dialogue, as both Cornelius and Ernest have unused lines.
Jocks! Jocks at the gate! We're doomed! The jocks are coming! To the barricades! Defend the barricades!
Now during the main attack, the jocks would be shouting at the nerds too, calling them perverts over Mandy's nude photos, which in my opinion would have made this mission a lot better, because it adds so much to the tension of the mission and strengthens the rivalry between the jocks and the nerds.
Give us back the photos, you pervs!
Dirty little creeps, you're going down!
Don't mess with Mandy, she's our girl!
So, as you just heard, Yuri Krasimov was also supposed to appear in this mission, but if you notice in the final version he doesn't make a single appearance at all. However, Casey Harris appears, but he has no quotes in the mission, so it could mean that maybe Rockstar swapped Yuri out for Casey. On the subject of characters who don't actually appear in the mission, unused files indicate that Damon West was supposed to appear, despite the fact he has no quotes whatsoever. Going off all the changes we've seen so far with the original mission idea of the battle wagon and all of these jocks appearing in the assault, it does appear that this mission was changed rather quickly and Rockstar never actually had time to fix it up properly. Now one oddity with the mission is with Ernest Jones, because if you let the barricade fall, Ernest can be heard shouting, but he's not shouting over the speaker like he is in Stronghold Assault, instead he's shouting like as if he's about 2 feet away from Jimmy. But if you look around you'll see that Ernest is nowhere to be seen at all. This implies Ernest would have tagged along and given orders to the nerds. However, this directly conflicts with the cutscene, because Ernest says he needs to stay behind and fix up the Spud gun while Jimmy's keeping them busy. So how can Ernest fix up the Spud cannon if he's with Jimmy at the same time? Another very weird thing is, if you let the barricade fall, it skips straight to the finale part with the Spud cannon. So it says to me that Rockstar never properly finalised this mission, because it doesn't make sense that the barricade fall and have the Spud cannon up and running. But there were also more barricades as identified by many nerd quotes.
The outer barricade has been breached! Fall back!
There's too many! Abandon this barricade! Retreat!
They've taken the second barricade! Withdraw in good order!
We gotta pull back, guys!
The last barricade has fallen! Jimmy, what are you doing?
The last quote hints the first part of the mission was actually time-based and you had to hold them off. Because Ernest's quote is less, the spud cannon's up and running, let's fall back, and it's more, it's over, we're screwed. But once the spud cannon was up and running, the jocks would continue their assault and Ernest would be shouting directions. But there'd also be an appearance from Ted Thompson, and this would have been the only time, except Complete Mayhem, where we see two clique leaders actually fighting one another. The last quote about the spud gun being down says the jocks would have actively aimed at the light thing, whatever it's called. I can't remember, but yeah, they would have aimed at that. And if they destroyed it, it wouldn't necessarily be the end of the mission, but rather Ernest would need time to quickly repair the damages. Or maybe, and once again this is just maybe, it means that if Jimmy went back to the observatory before he was supposed to come back, Ernest would be saying this. I think both of these are up for debate. But yeah, I'm leaning more towards it being Ernest would quickly repair it and he'd sort of go into an extra hard mode.
This is actually kinda exciting!
They're inside! All is almost lost! Melvin, protect me! They've come through from the side! Jimmy, come back! Get to the spud cannon! Jimmy, get to the spud cannon! It's our last chance! Hold them back with a barrage of potatoes, Jimmy!
32 counter trap! 34 pound, now! Sync crash 38 swing! 984 high fly, trips! Y zoom, screen left! Go, go, go! Set blue 42! Hut, hut, hike!
Jimmy, what are you doing? Get back in position! Jimmy, don't abandon the spud cannon! Jimmy, don't leave your position! Jimmy, where do you think you're going? It's not over yet, Jimmy! Get back to the gun!
The spud gun's down! Everybody charge!
I need more time! I still need more time! Science is hard work! Almost done! Just keep those jocks away! Eureka! It's done! Oh, drat! Hang on, almost there! Done! The system's up!
But once the jock attack was repelled and the jocks would fall back, the nerds would celebrate victory. Also, Algernon has at least 3 unused quotes here.
Fall back, boys! We're going home!
Are they gone? I think we've won! I can't believe it!
And so that was the mission Defender of the Castle. In traditional beta buddy fashion, this mission seemed like it'd be way more challenging, much more world building and just much more fun in general. But that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this kind of look at what could have been. Thank you for watching and have a great day.